Try making too woke be a cancelable offense. It's important for America to have a center-left party, and for that party to be competitive. And a good first step toward that goal would be to make the voters not want to punch you in the face. The reason I'm so mad at the Democrats is because as a voter, the issues that were important to me were democracy and the environment. And now, there's no one to champion or defend either of them because you, with your aggressively anti-common sense agenda and shitty exclusionary attitude, blew it. You lost every—
If there's one thing that sends Twitter into a meltdown faster than you can say pronouns in bio, it's when one of their own dares to call them out. And that's exactly what Bill Maher just did, brutally. He didn't just torch the woke left, he nuked the whole campsite and salted the ground for good measure. Maher wasn't ruffling feathers, he plucked the bird, deep-fried it, and served it with a side of I told you so. And here's the kicker, his not some mega firebrand. He's a self-proclaimed leftist, which makes the sting cut about 10 times deeper. This wasn't a polite, maybe we should rethink our strategy moment. It was the comedic equivalent of a Mike Tyson uppercut to the Democrats' glass jaw. His message? Simple. Stop blaming everyone else for losing and start staring in the mirror. And that blunt reality check is exactly what the left has been dodging, almost as if admitting failure is now considered a hate crime.
My message to the losers? Losers, look in the mirror. No? Well, maybe it should. Sorry. Well, that's my thing. Losers, look in the mirror, okay? You know, yeah. I mean, for months, Democrats have been saying, how is this even close? And they're right, it wasn't.
Trump didn't just win, he steamrolled. Every swing state, all 7, gone in a clean sweep. This wasn't a squeaker. It was a smash and grab job with a thank you note left on the counter. And what did the left do? Instead of asking the painfully obvious question, what went wrong? They cranked up the excuse factory. Russia, misinformation, racist voters, sexist voters, bad weather, Mercury in retrograde. If you can name it, they blamed it. Everyone except themselves. That's where Bill Maher flipped the script. They expected him to join the orange man bad dog pile. Instead, he told them the one thing they didn't want to hear, the problem is you. And that landed about as well as handing a vegan a medium rare steak. Maher doubled down, mocking Democrats for acting blindsided by Trump's comeback. His punchline: America never turns down seconds. We're a country that made Fast and Furious into a 10-part saga. You really thought voters would pass on another round of Trump?
Not conceive of a second Trump term, but they should have. When does America ever turn down second? I mean, come on. Look, this is just the facts. This is just the facts. Trump won all the swings, all 7. I mean, he ran the table. Trump won so big. Today he called the Secretary of State in Georgia, and he asked him to lose him 11,000.
But here's the real dagger. Bill Maher pointed out something the left refuses to admit. Trump didn't just hold onto his base, he expanded it. He pulled in fresh voters while the Democrats were busy playing a bizarre game of how many supporters can we alienate before Election Day. Spoiler alert, they won. Think about that. While Trump was adding fuel to his fire, Democrats were practically pouring water on their own. It wasn't just political malpractice, it was self-sabotage disguised as strategy.
No, he has an amazing coalition. He kept the old crowd that likes him. He got a lot of new voters. He got a lot of people who say, they just want to see what he'll do. I call this the get the cat high vote.
Joe Biden came in with a Restore the Soul of America mandate and a solid win. 2 years later, nearly half his 2020 voters had already bailed. And these weren't nobodies. We're talking Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and even RFK Jr., the guy who once wore the Democrat badge with pride, all saying we're done here. That's not drift. That's a stampede. Meanwhile, as Trump was locking down his base and drawing in new blood, Democrats were practically shoving people out the door with all the grace of a fire alarm. And here's the stat that sent the woke crowd into full pearl-clutching mode. 52% of white women voted for Trump. After years of non-stop negative press. After testimonies in court. After every headline, every late-night hit piece. They thought they'd sunk him. Instead, he walked away stronger, carrying a majority of white women. That's like trying to sink a battleship with water balloons.
Did better like in every demographic. The exit poll said he grabbed 52% of white women. He also got their votes. Yeah. We're gonna keep doing jokes here.
Meanwhile, Democrats were bleeding support in what was supposed to be their most loyal demographic. Black voters. For decades, they treated that loyalty like gravity. Permanent, unquestionable, always there. But reality hit different. According to Democratic pollster Blueprint, black voters were actually more likely to say Biden was too liberal than too conservative. That's a plot twist nobody on the left wanted to read. And when it came to Kamala Harris, a lot of voters didn't just want her to separate from Biden, they wanted her to separate from whatever the Democratic Party has turned into. Because right now, it looks less like a serious movement and more like a bad sketch straight out of Portlandia.
Who have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit. The Democratic polling firm Blueprint told Democrats months ago that black voters, aka their supposedly liberal base, were more likely to find the president too liberal than too conservative. They also found that voters didn't just want Harris to distance herself from Biden, they wanted her to distance herself from what they believe the entire Democratic Party has become, a Portlandia sketch.
And here's where it gets painfully obvious. Instead of hammering away at bread and butter issues, economic growth, public safety, education, the stuff that actually touches people's daily lives, the DNC blew its political capital pandering to fringe cultural causes. They weren't building bridges, they were torching them, and Kamala Harris? She managed to make it worse. She ditched her environmental talking points to chase fracking votes in Pennsylvania and auto votes in Michigan. She even bragged on the debate stage about boosting domestic gas production. The result? Environmentalists were furious, and she still didn't win those states. That's not strategy, that's political whiplash.
Kamala threw the environment under the bus to win the fracking vote in Pennsylvania and the automobile vote in Michigan, and then didn't win either. At the presidential debate, environment came up once, and Kamala used the opportunity to brag that we've increased domestic gas production to historic levels. And Trump, of course, called Mother Nature a childless cat lady. And now we're back to that, because the Democrat lost.
Now compare that to Trump. Love him or hate him, the guy is transparent. You never have to decode his speeches with a political cipher. He says it, you get it, and you decide. No scripts. No focus group doublespeak. Just Trump being Trump, for better or worse. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, was like watching someone try to do improved with a teleprompter. One day, she's the progressive champion. The next, she's cosplaying as a moderate Republican, depending on the zip code. People tuned in looking for a memorable takeaway and usually walked away empty-handed. And then there's the rainbow-colored elephant in the room, woke culture. Maher flat out said it. Democrats should make being too woke a cancelable offense. He's not wrong. The party's been hijacked by Twitter activists who mistake lecturing the country about microaggressions for leadership, all while inflation, crime, and infrastructure rot in the background.
Try making too woke be a cancelable offense. It's important for America to have a center-left party, and for that party to be competitive. And a good first step toward that goal would be to make the voters not want to punch you in the face.
And here's the kicker. This whole woke crusade doesn't inspire voters, it annoys them. It doesn't build coalitions, it shatters them. The average American isn't rolling out of bed worrying about pronouns. They're worrying about rent, the grocery bill, and whether they can walk through their own neighborhood without looking over their shoulder. Democrats used to get this. They used to win on common-sense kitchen table issues. Now, they're campaigning like TikTok influencers chasing trends. And the result speaks for itself. House gone. Senate gone. White House gone. Supreme Court gone. They didn't just lose power, they gift-wrapped the entire political chessboard and handed it over. Bill Maher nailed it. The Democrats have left America unprotected and wide open for the taking.
I will conclude by saying the reason I'm so mad at the Democrats is because as a voter, the issues that were important to me were democracy and the environment. And now, there's no one to champion or defend either of them because you, with your aggressively anti-common sense agenda and shitty exclusionary attitude, blew it. You lost everything. House, Senate, White House, Supreme Court, and left us completely unprotected and ready to be violated. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody!
And then, in classic Bill Maher fashion, he wrapped it all up with a deadpan. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Savage. Now, you'd think losing this badly might spark some humility. Maybe even a little reflection. But nope. The same crowd that filters everything through race and gender chalked it all up to, wait for it, racism and sexism. Never mind the fact that America already elected and re-elected a black president. Twice. But hey, maybe they missed that history lesson because it wasn't trending on TikTok.
What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. Oh, what, we did? Oh, right, and then re-elected him. Maybe you missed it because it wasn't on TikTok.
The truth is, 2024 wasn't just Trump's victory. It was the Democrats' self-destruction. Trump didn't need to reinvent himself. He just had to stay authentic and keep expanding. Meanwhile, the DNC couldn't decide who they were or what they stood for, beyond chanting "We're not Trump." That's not a strategy. That's a bumper sticker, from losing white women to bleeding black voter support, from ignoring economic pain to obsessing over niche cultural battles. The warning signs were flashing in neon. And yes, Bill Maher tried to sound the alarm. Loudly. Repeatedly. But when you're trapped inside an echo chamber, the last thing you want to hear is someone on your own side yelling, "Hey, maybe it's us." Here's the hard truth. If Democrats want to stop losing, they need to remember who they're supposed to fight for. And spoiler, it's not the blue-check Twitter mob. It's the average American who doesn't care about your hashtag du jour, but does care about paying rent, buying groceries, and walking through their neighborhood safely. If they can't figure that out, get ready. It won't just be 4 more years of Trump. It could be 8. Maybe more so if you're into this kind of scorched earth political commentary, the kind that makes woke Twitter cry into their oat milk lattes. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Maher right? Or can Democrats keep doubling down on failure and expect a different result? Because the next election isn't far away. And if they don't change course, they won't just lose again. They'll keep losing for a very, very long time.